Hi, and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your host, Michelle, and today I'm flying solo, but I have a couple cool guests lined up for the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned for those. And remember, you can always post your questions or things you'd like us to discuss on this podcast on our social media pages. Today, my intention is to look for the lesson, which I feel like is where I've been the last few weeks. I also feel it's where a lot of people have been the last few weeks. Maybe not so much in the intention of looking for the lesson, but being in some kind of lesson. Those moments where life is happening and creating shift and change or surprise, so to speak, and it throws us off our game and makes us feel unsettled. And it's such an interesting time because I feel like everything I've been in these last couple of weeks has been people saying that they're in it, whatever the it is, right? They're having challenging weeks. They're having troubles in communications with people. And it just feels like there's an energy about that is causing a little bit of chaos. So yesterday was a day of rapid heartbeat, stress levels that were higher than I prefer. And it was interesting to witness me navigate that. And then in the last few weeks, it's been not other people, confiding in me or contacting me was some of the same. And so I'm just finding it interesting. And I'm finding myself today, I'm in this state of like, aha, and a little bit of humor and surrender, just recognizing that, there's always going to be bumps in the road every now and again. And the roller coaster of life, as I like to say, sometimes it can be a ridiculously fun thing. And sometimes you're just on the one that makes you nauseous. So it's been a little intense these days, to say the least. So I want to circle back and get to my point about aha moments. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking about aha, like AHA, an aha moment. They're some of my favorite things. I like them better, full disclosure, when they're easier and when they're like this joyful aha thing versus like a painful in the moment, you've been out of alignment or this big sort of spiritual 2x4 thing coming at me, right? Which means I haven't been listening or it's just time for another evolution or evolve state, right? It's not always that I haven't been listening. It's not always that we haven't been listening. Sometimes it's simply like, oh, it's time to shake things up a bit. And however you feel about the wheres and whys and hows of all of that is yours. But in aha, I was thinking about awareness, honesty, and accountability. And no matter what the aha moment is, having those three things is such a huge piece of navigating life, navigating any moment, having an awareness of, how are you showing up in this? What is your role in this? How would you like to be showing up in this? What does that look like for you? And really being willing to open your eyes, or maybe it's more open your soul and see. I spent a lot of time putting walls up, and I was unable to look around or look over or look through said walls. I was just stubborn and stuck in where I was for a really long time, which is why I'm so passionate about getting unstuck from the suck, because I will tell you that was a way harder life. I have so many more skills and tools and people in my world now that help me navigate the difficult times. And they lead me somewhere easier, which is an interesting thing. It gets harder before it gets easier. But having an awareness of, what is happening around you, what is in alignment, what feels a little bit off. And for me, awareness is definitely about the external world on a lot of levels. And if I don't also include the internal world, it can get real messy, real distorted really fast. So for me, listening to What do I feel viscerally in my body when I'm in any given moment? Is my body closing off and getting tension? Is my body opening up? Am I feeling space? Does it make my heart skip a beat in a good, joyful way? Does it make my heart kind of close off and feel guarded and like I need to protect something? And all of those visceral reactions in your body, does it give me a pang of just like, oh, that one hurt, Or does it give me like this sensation of like, I'm so excited? Like those two things are so different feeling in your body. You can even hear it in my voice, right? Like this, oh man, that one. And my shoulders slump down and my back slumps when I say, oh, like it just sucks so bad, right? Or like this feeling of like my eyes get lighter, my smile turns up, my being feels more vibrant and I get excited about things. Like having an awareness of that internal, visceral, energetic reactions in your body is huge in navigating whatever it is, whether it be good, bad, indifferent, right? Like navigating what is in your world right now can become more, I'm going to use the word connected with inner wisdom. So more wise, more seen than, if we are shutting down or avoiding. I mean, that's obvious, but it's easier said than done to really open up to that awareness. I used to be terrified to look for a million reasons. And now I find that if I don't look, it just gets messier faster. And if I look with awareness, and then the next piece is honesty, being really honest about like, what is my role in this? How do I want to show up in this? What lessons are here for me? How can I best serve, for my best and highest good, but then also for others' best and highest good. And I didn't used to take my best and highest good into consideration. And that was to my detriment and to the detriment of those around me, because when it was to my detriment, it also, that ripples out as well, right? So, but if we're showing up, filling our cup and taking care of ourselves and giving us the nurturing and the healing that we need so that we can show up in the world in a way that feels, well, that is aligned, that is us. Like, who are you and how do you show up in the world? And does that feel like your truth? Like being really honest about that. And if it doesn't feel like your truth, then why are you showing up in that way? How can you show up authentic to yourself? And sometimes you have to be, hear, see, feel, do things that are really hard and challenging. And in the long run, when they come from that place of love, I have a teacher in Thailand who says, anything that's done from the heart is correct. Not easy, not necessarily easy. Like I'm shifting into my own story within this now, right? Like things done from the heart, are correct. Though that's true. I believe that to be true. And it's not always easy. So it's just this interesting navigation of this aha. So we have awareness, we have honesty. Last one, accountability. Oof, are you willing to own it? Are you willing to see both sides of the coin, so to speak, right? Are you able to see that it's never just one-sided, it's never just about one thing, and there's always many multiple layers that come in for the good, the bad, and the indifferent, right? And there's this need to really be aware, honest, and accountable within your life experiences, that those aha moments that are genuine and authentic, and you could throw authenticity in there. There's a lot of A's that actually work in this, right? Authenticity, awareness, accountability, actions. What actions are you taking? I feel like I'm missing a big one, but just in the when I was thinking about it, the awareness, the honesty, and the accountability feel like those three things. If you tap into that, if you consider those things, and if you are showing up in a way where those things are seen and reflected on, and you're using discernment to come from that clear place, come from that inner observer, that inner witness that can hold the space and not bring all of the extra goo into it, right? Goo being, former experiences, old wounds, old patterns, emotions, and things that are getting in the way of the clarity. I'm not saying the emotions and the things shouldn't be there. Excuse me. I'm not saying the emotions and the things shouldn't be there. I'm saying that when you're making big decisions, or when you're in it, when you're stuck in the suck, coming from the emotional state all the time, or when you're trying to make a clear decision, is likely going to be less clear than coming from that pause. Well, it is going to be less clear than coming from that pause. Coming from pause, coming from neutral, coming from balanced state. And balanced, I simply mean your inner being, your inner wisdom is connected, versus being messy and cloudy, and that you can get into that center sort of, I picture like a tunnel, like the center tube within that is not cluttered with all the things, all the walls we've built up, all the pain we've endured, even all the joys that we've had, right? The filters, the movies, the stories that we tell ourselves that are based on our life experience, because we all have our own, and it's going to be different for everyone. But to be able to show up from that state of center and an understanding that you might not know, and that's okay. And that just taking it one step at a time with an awareness around, the things that I mentioned before, around what is your truth, what might be their truth, what is internal, what is external, what is internal that you can shift, control, change, ebb, flow, and what is external that you can receive or navigate in a way that can lead you somewhere better. And I think, in all of the challenges in my life, I think ultimately it would be fair to say that all of them have led me somewhere better. And they've taught me things. And while I wouldn't choose a lot of them again, I'm grateful for them. I also wouldn't change them. I'm good with who I am. And it's been a rocky road and a rough ride in a lot of different time points in my life. And it made me who I am, and it continues to make me who I am. And I realize when I look back, actually, at just how challenging it's been the last couple of weeks, with just various things happening or coming in, or just, fear moments. Change is hard, and it usually brings in fear. So I say fear moments in that, like, these experiences are not things I'm wanting or willing to share on a podcast. They're personal to me, but also, when change happens, it can throw us off our game and bring in that fear. When I look back at the pockets of time of things that have happened, I realize the work that I've done and how far I've come into, I'm much closer now into my authentic self and who I am. And I choose to show up that way more often than not, versus before I hid that I hadn't even met my authentic self yet, as far as I can tell. I was super busy protecting and hiding and guarding and trying to show up in a world in a way that I thought I needed to be received and seen. And now I'm in this state of, that is so much effort and work, and who I am authentically is who I'm getting to know, who I'm revealing, who I'm stationed in, so to speak, and dropping into that piece of you changes everything. And how I know the growth is, like, I can see old patterns that I used to have. I can be in a moment of catastrophe or strife and go, hey, I'm actually not like super frustrated or pissed off right now. What is happening? Instead, and that was my aha moment. I was like, wow, I'm not in anger. I'm not in frustration. I'm in a state of surrender, acceptance, and we'll figure it out, one step at a time. And even a big fear thing that happened recently, with someone that I care about deeply, where I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. And, well, there's actually been a few of those lately, several. And just thinking about how I've been navigating those, like just this surrender to everything is in constant state of change, and that's okay. And that everything's going to be okay. And I'm really grateful that in these cases, everything is turning out okay. And that is something that I'm really grateful for. And I also recognize and realize that that's not always going to be the case, and that I can come to an acceptance around that as well. Hey, there's another A word. That feels like a good place to stop. I feel like my intention to learn a lesson in the aha moments is on a deeper level now after just recording this podcast than it was even before I started. And I'm really going to continue this day in this state of awareness and honesty, accountability, and really looking for the lessons, because I find the more I'm willing to look for those lessons, the better I become with each step that I choose from that mindful state. And the more you can reveal yourself to yourself, the more beautiful life becomes. And if I can support you in that in any way, shape, or form, whether it be through you posting a question on social media, you can send me a private message or an email if you don't want it to be public, or whether you want to reach out to me and see how we can dive deeper into things, or have me connect you with someone else who feels like they might be better suited for whatever it is you're needing in this moment. I just feel like we all need a lot of support these days. And I think we sometimes forget to ask for help. And one of my biggest aha moments was to understand that sometimes, often even, doing it alone is not the answer. And leaning into the self-care toolkit that I've talked about in previous episodes, whether that be other humans or, the Zentangle method or walking in nature or whatever that might be, that asking for what you need and receiving what you need is a big deal. And you deserve that. And if you can open to that and honor that and be honest about what your needs are in any given moment and vulnerable enough to ask for what you need, if that's a thing, if that is something that needs to happen in that moment, then I say do it. Ask and lean in. And I hope that things shift out of the suck sooner rather than later. And know that it's temporary. No matter what it is, it's temporary. And that's like the blessing and the curse, right? That's the duality of life, is like the good and the bad are temporary. But when that inner state, that authentic self is good and is connected, and you can tap into that inner wisdom and get to that state on the regular, the good far outweighs the bad. The good comes in more often. And being in that state so that you can take a step is easier, but I use that term loosely because it's easier said than done. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you spending the time with me. You can find us on social media at Hypothetically Intentional on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also find us at JD Studio on Instagram, JD Wellness on Facebook, and also Michelle Albers on Facebook and Instagram. It was great spending time with you today. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Be you every day.